What if I told you that the brilliant idea keeping you up at night is probably the exact reason your online business will fail? Stick with me, because what you're about to hear goes against everything you think you know. You have the energy, the motivation, you're ready to conquer the digital world. But there's an invisible minefield ahead, and most people's dreams perish there. Today, we're not talking about success. We're talking about the silent failures. Through a story inspired by real events, we're going to dissect the 7 fatal mistakes, the 7 traps almost all beginners fall into. Understanding these errors offers you the only map that exists to navigate this territory. Ready to see what others don't? Then let's dive in. Chapter 1: The Mirage of the Perfect Idea. Let me tell you the story of an entrepreneur we'll call Leo. Leo was convinced he had found the idea of the century, an ultra-complex application for organizing rare stamp collections, with a 3D interface and predictive artificial intelligence. On paper, it was revolutionary. He spent a year, yes, an entire year, locked away, coding, perfecting every detail, polishing every animation. He was in love with his product. The problem? He was the only one. On launch day, he had 3 downloads: his mother, his best friend, and probably himself from another device. Leo's mistake was the worship of the idea at the expense of the problem. He never asked a single stamp collector if they wanted his application. He assumed. He built a cathedral in the desert, magnificent but useless. The first fatal error is believing your idea has value. No. Only the solution to a real and painful problem has value. Before writing a single line of code or creating a single product, your sole mission is to find one person, just one, who tells you, "If you build that, I'll give you my money now." The rest is just talk. But the obsession with the product was only the beginning of the downfall. Chapter 2: The Field of Dreams Syndrome. After the disastrous launch, Leo didn't understand. His product was perfect, wasn't it? He thought people just hadn't discovered it yet. So, he spent the next 6 months adding new features. A premium version. An integrated forum. He was convinced that if he kept building, customers would eventually come. It's the famous "build it and they will come" myth. This is one of the most dangerous illusions in online business. The internet is not a magical field. It's a jungle where millions of voices scream at once. Having the best product is useless if no one knows it exists. Leo spent 100% of his time on the product and 0% on distribution. He should have reversed the trend. 50% of his time talking to potential customers, creating content, understanding where his audience spent their time, and 50% improving his product based on their feedback. An average product with excellent distribution will always beat a perfect product with no visibility. The deafening silence that followed his launch was not a sign of patience, it was the symptom of a non-existent strategy. And while he battled alone, another, more insidious error gnawed at him from within. Chapter 3: The Lone Superhero Trap. Leo was a lone wolf. He thought, like many beginners, that he had to know everything and do everything himself. The website design? That was him. Email marketing? That was him. Accounting, customer service, social media content creation? Still him. He wore all the hats, and none of them fit him well. He had become the bottleneck of his own project. Every task took 3 times longer because he first had to learn how to do it. He slept 4 hours a night, was constantly stressed, and the quality of his work suffered. He felt productive, but in reality, he was just spinning his wheels. The error here is confusing being busy with being effective. Wanting to do everything alone is not a sign of strength, it's a sign of ego. It's refusing to admit that you can't be an expert in everything. The solution isn't necessarily to hire an army of employees. It can be to delegate a specific task to a freelancer for a few hours, to use software that automates a process, or even to ask a mentor for help. Online business is a team sport, even if your team consists of tools and external service providers. By trying to be a superhero, Leo had mostly become his own worst enemy. But that's not all, because another error was waiting for him around the corner. Chapter 4: The Illusion of Mimicry. Exhausted and with no results, Leo started looking at what others were doing. He found a competitor who seemed to be absolutely crushing it. This competitor had a blue website, published videos every Tuesday, and used a certain type of humor. So, Leo copied everything. He redid his website in blue. He forced himself to make videos on Tuesdays. He tried to copy the humor, but it rang hollow. The result? Even worse than before. He had become a pale imitation, a low-rent version of his competitor. Mimicry is a survival strategy, not a success strategy. Beginners see the surface, the design, the publication frequency, the tone, and they copy that. But they don't see what goes on behind the scenes, the strategy, the deep customer knowledge, the years of tests and errors that led to that result. Copying the form without understanding the substance is a guaranteed recipe for failure. Your audience isn't stupid. They can sense when something isn't authentic. The real work isn't looking at your competitors to copy them, but to understand how you can be different. What is your unique voice? What is the angle no one else has taken? By trying to be like everyone else, Leo had become invisible. It was at this point that he came close to throwing in the towel, paralyzed by a fear many know. Chapter 5: Paralysis in the Face of Selling. After months of work, Leo finally had a few interested people. People who asked questions, who downloaded his trial version. But at the crucial moment, the moment to ask for money, he would recoil. He was afraid. Afraid to bother. Afraid of coming across as a pushy salesperson. Afraid of rejection. He told himself, if my product is really good, people will buy it on their own. This is a monumental error, fueled by a negative perception of selling. Selling, in a healthy online business, isn't about forcing someone's hand. It's about offering a solution to a problem. If you truly believe your product or service helps people, not offering them the opportunity to buy it is a disservice you're doing them. You're leaving them with their problem. Leo sent informational emails, quality content, but never, ever, an email that clearly stated, here's my offer, here's what it will do for you, and here's how to buy it. He was waiting for permission that would never come. The fear of selling is actually a fear of judgment. To overcome it, you need to change your perspective. You're not taking money, you're offering a transformation. And that transformation has value. This is the basis of any commercial transaction. By refusing to sell, Leo was refusing to validate his own work. And here's the most important thing, he ignored the signals the universe was sending him. Chapter 6: Willful Deafness. Throughout his journey, Leo received some feedback. A user told him, your app is too complicated, I just want a simple function. Another wrote, why isn't there integration with this other tool? Leo read these messages and ignored them. Why? Because they didn't align with his vision. He was so attached to his original idea, his cathedral, that he viewed any criticism as a personal attack. This is the error of the artist who refuses to listen to their audience. An online business is not a work of art to be contemplated. It's a living organism that must adapt to survive. The feedback from your first users, even if negative, is the most precious gift you can receive. It's solid gold. Every complaint is a roadmap to improve your offering. Every question is an opportunity to clarify your message. Leo wanted to be right. He should have wanted to succeed. That's a massive difference. By plugging his ears, he condemned himself to remain stuck in his own certainties, while the world moved on. And this brings us to the final error, the most devastating of all, the one that ends 99% of entrepreneurial ventures. Chapter 7: Confusing a Sprint with a Marathon. A year and a half after his brilliant idea, Leo was at his wits' end. He had only made a few symbolic sales. He looked around and saw stories of meteoric successes, people who seemed to have figured everything out in a few months. He felt useless, behind, as if he had missed the boat. He thought online business was a sprint. You launch, and either it explodes, or it fails. So, he threw in the towel, convinced it would never work for him. This is the ultimate error, believing the myth of overnight success. What Leo didn't see were the 5 years of behind-the-scenes work of the successful person. He didn't see the 10 projects that had failed before the one that worked. He only saw the tip of the iceberg. Online business is not a lottery ticket, it's a marathon. It's a game of patience, perseverance, and iteration. Every mistake is not a wall, but a step on a staircase. The failure of his stamp app was not the end. It was lesson number 1. The most expensive, but also the most valuable lesson in his entrepreneurial education. Success is not measured by how fast you arrive, but by your ability to get back up after every fall. So, what can we learn from Leo's story? Whether it's the mirage of the perfect idea, the field of dreams syndrome, the lone superhero trap, the illusion of mimicry, paralysis in the face of selling, willful deafness, or confusing a sprint with a marathon. Each of these errors is a door that closes. But seeing them, understanding them, is already finding the set of keys. Failure isn't falling into these traps. Everyone falls into them. The real failure is not understanding why you fell, and making the same mistake over and over again. This journey, this story, is a map. Now, you know where the mines are. You know what to look for. The next step is yours to take. Don't aim for perfection, aim for progress. Don't wait for permission, give it to yourself. And above all, never forget that every expert was once a beginner who didn't give up. Share with someone who's looking to launch. Don't forget to subscribe.